God, there's always something. It's always something. All right, where were we? Oh, yes, this guy, this idiot. We had to put up the example of the disclaimer. All right, this is about, here we go. Where we go back? Yeah, I'm on the Texas grid. Welcome back. No, that was just a software crash. It was like reminiscent of the old days. So welcome back to the show. So we were talking about hashtag the best people. Trump has this idea that he has the best people, and we continue going forward.
Stand it. Our country is sick. It's sick. We have people that will do anything, and it's a very sad thing. Like the document hoax, they should have never been brought. We're in the middle of a political campaign, and they want to arrest the opponent who's leading the person that's, in theory, in charge of government.
In theory, in charge.
This stuff shouldn't happen.
So what changes would you make?
Strong people, strong government. You know, when I came down to Washington...
You said this already. Hold on one second.
You know, actually, Bolton was good because everybody... times in my life in D.C. And I never stayed overnight. I was never there. I didn't know the people. I didn't know that world, other than I was in...
I didn't know that world. You mean government?
Involved in politics from the other side very much. And I put great people in, but I put some people like Bill Barr and Bolton and a few of them that, you know, actually Bolton was good because every time I negotiated, people said, oh, they've got this maniac here. He's going to go to war with us, and they'd concede every point. I mean, it was actually pretty good in a certain way.
Jesus Christ.
But we put people in that were great, and we put people in that weren't. I now...
Notice how when he fucks up or he gets called to on the carpet by anything, all of a sudden it's we. They're just trying to get to you through me. And yet when he's running for shit, I'm I, me.
No, Washington probably better than anybody. I know the good ones and the bad ones, and we will have...
So, no excuses next time? I'm kidding.
Have really great, strong people. I already know who they are. But
okay, go ahead.
We will have really great...
List them. You already know who they are. Shit, just say so.
Strong people.
Okay, in 2016, you said that. I'm going to surround myself with only the best and most serious people.
Well, I did do that,
this
and we
time,
had tremendous... Look, we had the best economy we've ever had. The world has ever seen.
Your Vice President, Mike Pence, is running against you.
Yeah.
Your Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, she's running against you. Your former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, said he's not supporting you. You mentioned National Security Advisor John Bolton. He's not supporting you either. You mentioned Attorney General Bill Barr, said...
Yeah, the only one we haven't talked to is Rex Tillerson, because he doesn't even think it's worth returning a fucking phone call about you.
You shouldn't be president again. Calls you the consummate narcissist and troubled man. You recently called and Barr a gutless pig. Your second defense secretary is not supporting you, called you irresponsible. This week, you and your White House called your White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, weak and ineffective and born with a very small brain.
Is there anybody you liked in your cabinet?
You called your acting White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, a born loser. You called your first Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, dumb as a rock. And your first Defense Secretary, James Mattis, the world's most overrated general. You called your White House Press Secretary, Kayleigh Canadian milquetoast. And multiple times you've referred to your Transportation Secretary, Elaine Chao, as Mitch McConnell's China-loving wife. So, why did...
What best... So... Who the fuck are you talking about?
Did you hire all of them in the first place?
Because I hired 10 to 1 that were fantastic. We had a great economy. We had...
Wait. 10 to 1? He just named 10. Name the list. You got 90 names, fucko. Yammer them out.
Phenomenal people in charge of the economy. We had phenomenal people in the military. I'm not a fan of Milley, and I'm not a fan of certain of the television people. But I knocked...
You mean the people who were already there?
Out ISIS. I defeated ISIS. They said, Mattis, it would take 3 years, and I don't think we can do it. I did it in a period of like 4 weeks.
There's a lot of people who praise you for your policies. I just said that.
That's true. Well, I mean, you just went through a list. But don't forget, for every one you say, I had 10 that love us.
Us. Again, look at this asshole. Us. It's always us when he's up against the wall, when he's trying to, like, gather a crowd. He's talking about... He's calling me names, but he means you guys. That's like, and the idea that he calls Barr a coward.
And one thing happens, I find, with me that I think didn't happen so much with other presidents. Call it glamorous time, call it whatever.
Call it glamorous time. Call it whatever.
Here I am like an idiot.
Love us. And one thing happens, I find, with me that I think didn't happen so much with other presidents. Call it glamorous time, call it whatever. But with me, the Times, the Washington Post, various people, even Fox, because, you know, I'm no great fan of Fox anymore. They fought me very hard. Well, you got to get your word out somehow, right? They fought me very hard in 2016, very much the way they're fighting me now. Very.
Okay, what was the glamorous stuff? What was the what is that even a reference to? Get back to it. I don't need you arguing with Brett Baer. I don't give a shit what goes on between you two.
And I won. Then they became very nice. But I will tell you that something happens when people leave. They can like me very much. I have this woman named Alyssa Farah. She said the greatest things. Long after she left, he's the greatest president we've ever had. He was unbelievable, unbelievable. Then The View offered her a contract. But obviously, only if she changed her views. And all of a sudden, she can say,
oh, I see. That's it. I see. So what you're trying to say is, if I understand you, is that you only hire duplicitous. Hold on. I could say this fully. Because I'm trying to back this up. Back it up. Hold on. Say that again. About the woman from The View.
That something happens when people leave. They can like me very much. I have this woman named Alyssa Farah. She said the greatest things. Long after she left, he's the greatest president we've ever had. He was unbelievable, unbelievable. Then The View offered her a contract. But obviously, only if she changed her views. And
right. So essentially, if I'm getting his point correct, he only is capable of hiring duplicitous mercenaries with no sense of personal ethics and who will lie for money. That basically that explain it? Because you do realize you still hired that person. So if a bunch of these people are leaving and they said all these great things when they work for you, but then they leave and they start shit-talking you, you do realize that's on you, right? You do realize that you have to take responsibility for the fact that you hired someone like that. And not just one person, dozens of them.
all of a sudden, she can say negative things. Money gets offered.
Yes. What? Once she's not getting money from you anymore, they can say negative things. So basically, you pay people to say nice things about you. Nice life, asshole.
To people, and some people change.
But I will say
and some people change.
At least they're not taking money. That decided that they're not
for the most part, they are. You know, Barr did a book. Barr was a coward.
Barr did a book.
The name people that you name, for every person you name, I can name 20 people that.
Oh, now it's 20. Well, look at that. Man, it must be dark and moist wherever they're doing this interview because the shit is multiplying.
Loved the administration.
Like Kash Patel? How many times are you going to say Kash Patel?
And maybe more importantly, the voters love the administration. The voters are dying to get back to it, Brett. The voters are tired of being laughed at all over the world.
Well, no. Your voters are just going to have to get used to that.
We're run by a fool. We're run by a man that doesn't have a clue.
I want to talk about foreign policy, but just to leave this, you have former senior advisor Steve Cortes saying it's going to be tough for you to get the best and the brightest because of some of the name-calling of people who left.
Well,
so what do you say to that?
Cortes is a nice person, but I didn't give him the job he wanted because I didn't think he was qualified. Then he went over to the sanctimonious camp. I didn't give him the job. So I'd probably say the same kind of thing if I wouldn't get a job, if somebody wants a job. And a lot of the people that you mentioned there, they didn't get the job. A couple of them weren't made permanent. I didn't want to make them permanent because I didn't think they were good enough. Now, during the course of that...
Again, is it striking anybody besides me at this moment that this just sounds like a bunch of apprentice bullshit? That in the middle of a functioning government, the most important government of the most important country on the planet, according to everybody who voted for him and everybody who voted against him. And this asshole wants to treat the entire endeavor like it's some, backbiting bullshit BTS footage from The Apprentice. Is it too much to ask that adults fucking deal with adult issues? What kind of Real Housewives of the Oval Office horse shit is this? It'd be one thing if a president had one scandal of people who just didn't get along, and yet they were both necessary, and they had different areas, and they pushed back against it. That's been around forever. That's in every organization. You can't avoid it, or whatever. But everybody.
For 4 years, I know the best people.
Like who? If you can name 20, name one.
Remember this. We took out ISIS. We developed Space Force. I rebuilt the military.
Yeah, that's it.
I've been involved in the 2 greatest scams in American history.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
I got the largest tax cuts in history. I got the largest regulation cuts in history. I did right to try so that people don't have to die without a chance. We could use space-age medical...
Space Force technology. Med beds. Where are the med beds? The QAnons want to know.
Knowledge, and we have the greatest labs in the world. I did all of these things and much, much more. Nobody's ever seen it like that. One other thing.
Ugh.
Russia would have never invaded Ukraine.
Shit.
China would never be talking about
For the second part,
We all just know.
The part that jumped out was this coming back from it here. Hold on.
an answer. It's hurt me in negotiations on the term.
We saw this part.
About it. You'll find very few discussions about it. And for 4 years, Russia never even thought about it because Putin and I had a very good relationship, business relationship.
Yeah, that was the concern instead of a public service relationship.
But I got along with him and he got along with me despite the phony Russia witch hunt, which made it much more difficult. Having that phony Adam Schiff, Hillary Clinton witch hunt for 2.5 years going on made it much more difficult despite.
Why? Why? If it's all fake and Putin knows it and you know it, then it would just be political noise on the side. The only reason it would hang things up is if you are trying to do things with Putin that go against the will of the voters in the United States or the general attitude of the Congress. And that seemed to be the case.
That he knew he could not go into Ukraine. I told him very strongly, you can't do it. And if you do it, it's going to be a problem. And he never did.
I want to talk about Ukraine, but
they were there, stupid.
Just to end on China, this weekend, President Biden, speaking of that Chinese spy balloon, said this.
I think it was more embarrassing than it was intentional.
What do you think about that?
I think it's such a stupid
What would you
statement.
have done?
He doesn't know what he's... They wouldn't have ever had a spy balloon if I was president.
There were several of them while he was president.
There wouldn't be a spy balloon over our country. That spy balloon was going right over our nuclear sites, taking pictures. And we killed it after it was leaving. It was going back home to China, wherever it was.
It was going back home to China, via the Atlantic. The long way.
Going. But we shot it down over the ocean after it had done all of its work. They don't keep it on the balloon and then you pick it up. That stuff is sent back to China.
Transmitted would be the word. But yeah, if you got a child's vocabulary.
Instantaneously as it's taken.
How about this? What if, how do they know what they were getting was real? How do they know we weren't intercepting the signal from it and sending what we wanted them to see? That's what I'd do. I'd go intercept it, filter the information, delay it, make them think it's because we blocked it for a short time, and then start sending them bullshit. Send them pictures of weird stuff, like mess with the topography, all that stuff. Just run it across all the guys. Gather a group together. How can we make them think like every valley's a hill and every hill's a valley?
So a statement like that is so stupid. They've taken pictures of every one of our nuclear facilities in the Midwest where we have a lot, where they know better than anybody that we have a lot.
And you're saying that
better than anybody that we have a lot because I told them.
Wouldn't happen under you.
They wouldn't have ever done it, no. They wouldn't have ever done it, no. President Xi and I had a very strong relationship, just like I did with Kim Jong.
They wouldn't send a balloon. They would send a pandemic, sure. But I was busy. I gave the farmers $28 billion, and in exchange, they got hundreds of thousands of dead Americans. It was a trade.
Of North Korea. Look, when I took office, everyone assumed we were going to war with North Korea, including...
Yeah, this is the same shit all the time. I'm done. Like it's the same prattle. Fucking hell. By the way, you're watching Housemarks Megaworldwide. We're, I'm up and running right now. That's the good part. But you folks are lovely. Hold on one second, if I may. Let me jump this in here. Move this over here, and then say hi to you guys. Hi. It's this. It's like he uses these things, and the irony is that a lot of politicians use interviews to kind of dovetail the conversation into their kind of standard stump speech stuff. And there's nothing about him that's spectacular in that regard. It's the irony is that I think a lot of these idiots think that that somehow he's not a politician or whatever. And it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing that all politicians have done forever. And yet somehow it goes through some sort of dipshit translator in people's foreheads that vote for him. It's fascinating to me. All right, now there's a couple of things to cover today. We zipped through that in all the technical issues of it. And one of the big things that kept getting brought up, if I may, hold on one second, is this idea of China. China has Biden at China, right? That story. We've heard this for a little while. And it's pretty, we've covered it a little bit, but I will say it is the gift that keeps giving from these folks. And it's amazing to me that they haven't been able to put together the bribe itself. You know what I mean? They haven't been able to explain why in the world, what China is getting in exchange for this bribe. Hold on one second. Okay, hold on. Trump has a new ad out too. I'll show you that in a second. But everybody seems to be back in this idea that the CCP owns Biden and blah, 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 blah. Without any reasoning behind it, without any basis for it. Hold on. And then we'll go to, here we go. Okay. So let me grab this one first. So one of the people that they go to in Victory News is this is again the ass end of the internet. Frank Gaffney, they used to have him on Fox on the regular and he's one of these guys who's always telling the China story, and China's just amazeballs, according to Frank Gaffney and his ilk. I'm curious about this. It's called Victory News. The China threat is growing. This is because Blinken is meeting with him. By the way, these are the same people that said when Blinken wasn't meeting with him that the Biden administration was going to war with China. They want war with China.
Joining us now is the executive chairman of the Center for Security Policy and author of the new book, The Indictment, prosecuting the Chinese Communist Party and friends for crimes against America, China, and the world. Frank Gaffney, welcome.
Forward by Steve Bannon.
To Victory News.
Thank you. It's terrific to be with you.
Yes, it's great to be here, especially ironically where I feel like such a loser being on the show in the first place.
Frank, you've said what America faced at the very worst moments of the Cold War with Russia pales in comparison to what we are currently facing with communist China. Tell us why.
Yeah, because that's some goofy shit, because we literally came this close to annihilating the Earth a couple of times.
I say that based on my own personal experience with some of the darkest days of the Cold War, when Ronald Reagan, and I was privileged to serve as an acting assistant secretary of defense, was trying to bring down the Soviet Union, a formidable adversary with immense numbers of nuclear weapons. And I will tell you, based on my own experience, that was nothing compared to the danger that we're facing today from a Chinese Communist Party.
Well, you're only saying that because we just found out that the Russian army is ass.
That not only has amassed enormous economic power, again, as we talked about in the Western Conservative Summit, with...
I'm sorry, they've done what now?
Economic power. That not only has amassed enormous economic power, again, as we talked about in the Western Conservative Summit, with our help, but also now the military means with which to wage war against us, I think that makes the Soviet threat pale by comparison.
Okay, you're an idiot. The Soviets had over 2,000 nuclear warheads active and up, pointed at us all the time. They had an active, functioning giant navy. They had certainly at least a well-trained spy force. The Chinese are terrible at this shit. Hold on one second. This is, let's see. See if I can get a picture of this. Where are you? Hold on. Forbes. Dry dock in Chinese area. Hold on one second. This is October 19th, 2022. There we go. This is a satellite photo of one of China's dry docks. Chinese People's Liberation Army's Navy new dry dock appears to have suffered damage from a fire, according to satellite imagery. The soot covered two ships that were recently sailed into the smaller of the two docks. The facility is one of the first times the facility has been used. Then I'll show you real quick. Hold on one second. Chinese supercarrier. Type 075. Yeah, there you go. China's. This is in April 2020. China's first Type 075 LHD caught on fire during a fitting out. Its landing helicopter dock caught on fire yesterday on their supercarrier. Then let's see what else. One moment. Oop. There's a here it is. Let me do this real quick. Chinese supercarrier hotel. So the Chinese have two supercarriers. One of them is a old Soviet one, and then the other one used to be a hotel. They recommissioned it. Let me show that. Crap. I hate it when they do that. They kind of sneak in. I'll show you. I'll widen it out. There it is. That used to go and stay on the thing as a hotel. Yeah, they have two of them. One of them has been in dry dock as a hotel. The other one, and neither one of them can. The newest one that they built cannot. The ships or the airplanes they have cannot take off from the deck. So it is only a airplane transport. There you go. Here you go. See if I can get a picture of this. This is the Type 3. This guy right here. It doesn't work for their current fighter jets. Ta-da. All right. Anyways, that's fun. Anyway, so they're great military might. Oh, and let's see. Let's see. Capital. Investors. I could get news on this one. Let's see. News. Let's just grab on this. Hold on. Let me shrink this down. Okay. China. Here you go. There's just a couple of things right out of the guy. The cloud over China's entrepreneurs raises capital flight risk. China's capital flight shows investors getting nervous. They're right to worry. This is Barron's. Nikkei. China sees first net capital outflow in more than 2 years, meaning in the middle of COVID. They're having the same effect under COVID without a fucking pandemic. Why more Chinese tourism means capital flight. The mysterious $300 billion flow out of China. China renews its pitch to foreign investors. Currency loss, fund flight, but put temporary pressure on Hong Kong markets. After zero COVID, Chinese capital takes flight to India, Japan, and South Korea. Chinese banks cause alarm as capital flight measures intensify. Capital outflows from China's sovereign bonds just hit $30 billion. This is just like in the last year. So let's see. Chinese. Let's see. Capital. Let's see. Chinese. Let's see. Economy. Like, does Gaffney, like, do they just use, does he just form his opinions like old fish, just wrap them in old newspapers? Here's a New York Times article. 1 second. Da-da-da. Get this 1 second. Where is it? Economy. I'll just go to the news one on this. 1 second. Here's New York Times. This is, when is this one? This is June 19th. Yeah, this is today. There you go. China's rebound hits a wall, and there is no quick fix to revive it. Policymakers and investors expected China's economy to rev up again after Beijing abruptly dropped COVID precautions, but recent data shows alarming signs of a slowdown. Oh, did they? When China suddenly dismantled its lockdowns and other COVID precautions last December, officials in Beijing and many investors expected the economy to spring back to life. Did they? Because some of us didn't. But whatever. It has not worked out that way. Investment in China has stagnated this spring after a flurry of activity in the late winter. Exports are shrinking. Fewer and fewer new housing projects are being started. Prices are falling. More than 1 in 5 young people is unemployed. China has tried many fixes over the last few years when its economy had flagged, like heavy borrowing to pay for roads and rail lines, and it spent huge sums on testing and quarantines during the pandemic. Extra stimulus spending now with borrowed money would spur a burst of activity, but pose a difficult choice for policymakers already worried about accumulative debt. Also, their economy is, at minimum, a third smaller than they say it is. Authorities risk being behind the curve in stimulating the economy, and there's no quick fix, said Louise Liu, an economist specializing in China in the Singapore office of Oxford Economics. China's halting economic recovery has seen only a few categories of spending grow robustly, like travel and restaurant meals, because people went out and blah, blah, blah. Now, here's the other part. Hold on, let me see if I can do this. Debt to GDP, we already did that. Yeah, there it is. Property sector. Blink. And, oh, I know what this is. Hold on. Chinese deflation. Check this one out. This is a fun one. This is where people are like, I just don't know if they bothered to friggin' even think past, like, I guess 2 weeks down the line. China's producer prices plunge the most in 7 years as deflation hangs over the economy. Economists surveyed by Reuters expected China's consumer price index to rise 0.3% year on year after making a 2-year low of 0.1% in April. Month to month, economists predicted 0.1% decline. Recent economic data pointed to a disappointing recovery from China's strict COVID lockdown measures as the economy struggles with softening demand and falling exports. Inflation in China stayed at low levels in May as the economy struggles to recover. This is the site. Yeah. Producer price index. There you go. Here's 2020. This is, and 2016 was bad. If you go back even further, another decade, that's when they really get in dire shape. Usually, though, this is a situation where they could either borrow money or people felt sympathetic towards the Chinese economy. So we helped. The European Union helped. Everybody like kind of chipped in to help them kind of stabilize because everybody uses them as a factory point. And it dropped -7% in May of 2016. And then, because the election, nobody knew what the policy would be, and there was a lot of racist rhetoric on it. And then it pops back up. And then look at this. Look at this right here. Besides like actual crashes by themselves, that's just terrible. So China's consumer price index in May rose 0.2% compared to a year ago. Economists surveyed by Reuters expected a 0.3 rise. There we go. Month to month. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the U.S. dollar versus the renminbi. You can get 7 renminbi for $1. You can get 70-something rubles. And you can get 11 rubles for that same amount of you can get 11 yuan or renminbi for the same amount of rubles. It's weird. The exchange is all fucked up. After the release of the onshore yuan nearing bottom. Despite the softness in the latest price index, one China market watcher seemed to be holding on to an optimistic long China call. We feel that both from an economic point of view, from a stimulus point of view, and from a geopolitical point of view, we can't get much worse than we currently are. Oh dear. Really? Because no. From an investing perspective, China is starting to see at least some return to a level of stability, he said, adding the stocks on mainland China remain relatively attractive. All right, so anyways, Gafty, tell us all about relatively attractive means they're eating our lunch. Oh, I suppose by comparison, I should give Dow today. Something like that. Just something like that. Dow Industrial average is, let's see. There we go. Here's the Dow. It's at 34,299.12. It's up 392 points in the last 5 days. Down today, I think, right? It was down like 0.32 of a point. I always think it's so fucked up when you look at the Dow. It's hilarious to me that it's up for 5 days. In 392 points, it's up. But then it goes down in a day, 108 points. It's still up 200 points from a week ago. But it's down now. Like, the psychology of this is so weird. But there's a month. It's up 1,000 points in the last month. And it's hemming around here. Kind of going straight along in 23. Year to date, there's a big thing. And then a year. Then 5 years. Curious that. Hey, look. Here's the entire Trump administration. Right to there. That's it. Kind of the same it was right before the crash. Not even up from it. Anyway, gang, tell us about it, Frank.
You know, in your book, you present the Chinese Communist Party as a transnational criminal organization or an illegitimate mafia, if you will. What brought you to that conclusion?
Because they are one, and?
Well, it's fairly straightforward. If you simply look at the various crimes that it is engaged in. And our book, The Indictment, talks about 9 of them, starting with crimes against humanity, the murder of 100 million of their own people. And that does not count the 4, maybe 500 million they've murdered in the womb. But then there's...
Okay, let's talk about the one-child policy and forced abortions. But again, I think he means the 100 million people during what, Mao's push or the Great Leap Forward, whatever.
8 different war crimes they've engaged in against the United States that have done incalculable harm to our people.
Cool. Why did Trump do a trade deal with them? Anyways, there's more of this to come, but I want to jump around today because we used up a lot of our time chasing down Trump's weird Brett Baer interview. But I would like to, I know some of us are like, hey, isn't Trump being arrested and indicted and charged with the crime because he committed a crime, because he did something that he shouldn't do, and it wasn't even so much that he had the documents, that he fought to keep them, and he engaged in a conspiracy to not give them back, and it's pretty obvious, and he's even on tape doing it. No. That's not right. And thank God Glenn Beck is here to explain to us this is really why the far left indicted Donald Trump. The far left indicted him. The far left, and boy, I guess hats off far left for really keeping your powder dry. I got to say, how did you know? How did you know that he was going to withhold classified documents and hide them in his shitter? It's amazing. You guys, I don't know whether you got Uri Geller working for you guys. Oh, don't get him for Jan 6. Don't get him for the sexual assault stuff. Don't get him for that. Wait. Hold for a little while. We're going to set up this thing where we're going to trick him into being a complete idiot.
All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about the indictment on Donald Trump.
On Donald Trump. Sure.
Now, to be honest with you...
so it's a different kind of show today.
I spent 2 weeks on vacation, and just like if you're an accountant... you don't even want to look at the bill at dinner time because you don't want to worry about those numbers. I was like that with the news. People kept coming up to me. Did you hear? All I heard was, did you hear what they did to Donald Trump? I heard that over and over and over.
Where the fuck do you vacation? The Villages?
And I'm like, no, I'm not paying attention to the
I'm on vacation. I only pretend to give a shit.
news for 2 weeks.
You know what happens when I'm on vacation, if I ever take one or I'm taking a break from something? You know what and people come up and ask me, I tell them. And then I ask them how their day is going, and then we talk about something else because I'm a human being, and I don't have to like pull this like Billy Bob Thornton when I'm talking about my band, I don't want to mention I'm an actor.
And it was nice. However, I have to be honest with you. I haven't done all of my research to
Hey, so it's like a normal show. Sorry, I thought it was a special show today.
have a legal point of view on what is happening.
Unlike, what the fuck?
I've read really good opinions on this a violation of federal law, the indictment is, and I have heard, from Dershowitz that, no, they actually have a really good case this time. I don't know. I don't want to talk to you about the law because I'm not
Because it's a losing conversation, because it's super obvious he broke the law.
there yet.
Yes, I haven't found a way to lie about this part of it yet. So, and I mean, it's 44 pages, and it takes, to read 44 pages, I mean, can I go back on vacation for another 3 months?
Let me just tell you what I think this is really about.
Yes, why talk about the legal aspect or the value of the case? Just spitball.
This is not really truly about anything other than one, for those who have truly gone insane, putting Trump in jail.
I see. You would only truly insane people would want him in jail. Like the women driven crazy by, I guess, him sexually assaulting them. Or other people who haven't gotten away with millions in tax fraud, wanting him in jail. You have to be totally insane to want him in jail. Why? Because it will make his followers lose their shit and attack everybody. And that you have to be crazy to want MAGA, weaponized and attacking people. Yeah, Trump's crazy. That's the other reason he should be in jail.
They will put him in jail.
Oh, that's sweet. Glenn believes in us, guys.
I believe that there was a dust-up last week because Fox News said a wannabe dictator, right?
No, they put it in the Chiron. They fired a guy who put it in the Chiron.
A producer that put that Chiron up was fired over it.
Oh, good. Well, things are looking up at Fox.
Right.
Things are looking up at Fox.
Yep.
Okay, so
Is he working at the Blaze yet?
would-be dictator. I saw Tucker Carlson. I watched something that he did on Twitter about this, and he's absolutely right. It was brilliantly done.
We'll check it out. I'm not going to try and assume too much, but the last two have been ass, and this next episode, I just don't have a lot of hope for it. I mean, maybe they go back and there's an origin story, and I can get re-involved in it. But as a binge-worthy show, it's Tucker on Twitter is no good.
And he's absolutely right. He's a wannabe dictator puts his enemies and his foes in jail.
Right, but what if somebody doesn't put a wannabe dictator in jail? In the case of Trump, who is a wannabe dictator, a guy who tried to seize control of the country after he'd lost an election. What is it called when you don't put someone who does that in jail? What if you don't put a wannabe dictator in jail? Because that's how I saw it. I mean, I let me know when Biden sends shock troops into Mar-a-Lago in that regard, and has a bunch of like blue-haired environmentalists storming the place, to seize Trump and that build a gallows and all that kind of shit. When they do that, then we'll have a whataboutism conversation.
And they'll do anything they have to teach anybody who's running against a lesson. We'll
no, because none of the other people are going to fucking jail.
Put you in jail.
No, there are no plans, insofar as I know, to put Nikki Haley in jail, or Vivek Ramaswamy, or Asa Hutchinson. That's what this is. The Democrats are like, if any of you fuckers, John Kasich, you guys try to run against us, we're gonna the foot comes down.
It's not. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Let me.
Yeah. Start again. Go back.
Be kind. It's a really crazy coincidence that this happened on the same day that it was released that, yeah, looks like maybe $10 million in bribery and we got the goods on.
No, it's the other way around. On the day of the indictment, when they knew it, Comer and Jordan and those folks ran over to look at that file that they had already seen and then made a press release about it. If you have the recordings, fucking bring it.
Joe Biden and his son. Same day.
Right, but you got the order flipped. See, the case against Trump has been building to this to a point that's really fucking obvious for a very long time. As a matter of fact, it was longer. They would have delayed the indictment, like wait until till we can use it to squelch another controversy. That something about Ukraine, Burisma, and Hunter Biden smoking in a bathtub.
The Burmese executives. So this Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese.
So what is this really about?
Mm-hmm. I think it might be about him taking classified documents, engaging in a conspiracy to keep them even after he'd been subpoenaed, lying to his attorneys, and therefore forcing his attorneys to lie to the court and participate in a crime. Might be that.
This is misdirection. And I want you to listen really carefully because there are many facets to this.
Yeah. It's not a simple thing. It's not a simple kind of misdirection. That would be too easy.
It's about misdirection on the Biden crimes.
Okay, which one? You do realize we have an affidavit and actual tape in the indictment, actual tape and actual transcripts of the tapes of Trump admitting that he knows he can't declassify documents and admitting to randos that showed up to do a book about Mark Meadows that he's got classified documents he does not have the right to keep. He knows he didn't declassify. He can't show them to them. None of it is magically declassified. And he engaged in moving boxes out after he told his attorney, who had sworn to the court that nobody had touched these things in this locked room in between the time they'd been served with the warrant, with the subpoena, and the time then when the lawyer came back to check for classified documents. In that time, he made that person swear. That's on tape. Not a piece of paper that says a guy heard from a guy that there's a tape of a thing about a bribe that never took place. And if it did take place, it did the exact opposite of what the guy was trying to bribe him to do.
It is about putting Donald Trump in jail, but maybe not for the reason you think or even the people on the left think.
Does it matter if can't we all just enjoy? Like, I think he's in jail for grabbing women by the pussy. Well, I think he's in jail for lying to banks about his properties being really valuable and telling the IRS that they weren't worth shit at the same time. We can all just pick your own reason why he's in jail. Who gives a shit? You can't be in two cells at once.
Including President Obama.
Okay.
It is misdirection on the economy.
I see. So they're putting him in jail so you don't know you're broke.
It is misdirection on the dollar. It is
Well, all right. Tell us how's the dollar doing, man? You're gonna do like China's gone from 2% of foreign exchanges to 3.1% of foreign exchanges because we're not doing business with some fucking awful people, so they've got to change it in something, and that's the only other market in town, and we don't give a shit because we don't want to do business with people that fucking lop women's heads off, you dickhead. All right, hold on. US dollar. Mm-hmm. Let's see. See if this Daily Fix says this. What's the stop? What? Oh, I see. I see. Get out of here. Okay. U.S. U.S. Treasury Department placed 7 kinds in its monitoring list. Gold price forecasts. June 20th. There you go. Where's the chart? God damn it. Oh, I got to go to Bloomberg for this nonsense. All right. All right. Then we go to here. We go to the thing because it's the day off. So, U.S. dollar. So everybody's, nobody wants to talk about it because it's shows off 5 things you need to start your day. Biden sees progress in China. Blinken new regime. Makes message Bloomberg engine. A global stock drop. Titanic week. That's the 19th. Okay. 5 things you need to start your day. Blink. Hell of a job. Double down. Profits probe. Flying higher. Fortunes Singapore Airlines. Nerves remain. Okay. The dollar. Sorry. All right. Now give me 1 second. One last try, and then I'm gonna just come back. U.S. dollar versus the euro, for example. Let's just do this. Okay. Let's see. Okay. U.S. dollar. Whoops. Quit it. I don't want that. What are you doing? Chip. Let's see. Price down. All right. I don't know why this is giving me Chilean peso fruit. Okay, hold on. This is such a weird thing. Why are you doing that? U.S. dollar. Such a weird thing. Anyways, the dollar's at $1.03. Okay, there we go.
Misdirection on the war, on really everything that actually matters.
Well, it isn't working because we're able to fucking walk and chew gum at the same time.
That's really what the pride flag thing is about, too. It's not really in support of gay pride.
No, the Biden administration doesn't give a shit about gay rights. They're just trying to distract you from every piece of news in the world.
It's really not. It's really not. You wouldn't be forcing this. I went over to London. There wasn't a government building without the gay pride flag. Not one. Not one. There were government buildings without a British flag, but a gay pride flag.
Oh.
It's incredible. Everyone is in lockstep. And it doesn't have anything to do with gay rights. I mean, I got a lot of gay friends.
Oh, fuck off.
I got a lot of black friends too. I know you can't say that because
it's not true. Because you don't.
I know a lot of gay people. I hire gay people.
Sorry, Stu. Sorry, Gary. Sorry, Frank.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they can get married. It doesn't matter if they can adopt. It doesn't matter if my own staff treats them like a pariah.
Tell me the same thing, one after another.
Really? So what you're telling me, you only hire right-wing gay people and right-wing black people? Yes, we know that they're complete human beings, and every group has their own idiots. And
this is out of control.
But you were able to go vacationing, were you? You were able to take a vacation in this out of control situation? The whole thing's out of control, was it? It's so out of control that you had a decent vacation, did you?
This is out of control.
Oh, it's out of control. I didn't realize you were saying. Oh, thank you so much. Hold on. Thank you so much, CSL. Appreciate it. And nice. Excellent.
It's not about gay rights anymore.
It's not about gay rights anymore, or the war, or the economy, or anything. It's just about putting Donald Trump in jail for personal reasons that none of us can articulate.
This Trump thing is not about Donald Trump, certainly not about the law.
I mean, could it be about the kidney? I don't know. We'll find out.
It is about one of two things when it comes to him. Either ensuring he's the candidate. Again, I don't know on the...
I see. So, wait. Please say, or assuring that he's not.
Legal side yet. Ensuring he's the candidate by stirring it all up. Or putting him in jail.
Yeah. It's either about making him the candidate for the Republican Party or making sure he's not able to be president. And there's part of a plot here. And the plot is either to make him president or keep him from being president. I don't know quite. What the fuck? What?
But let's go with ensuring that Trump is the candidate. I don't know if you've...
Right. I don't know if this is where you want to go, dummy, because that you're basically saying that Democrats are orchestrating one of the greatest frauds in the history of the world in an attempt to go after this guy, not for things he did, which he admits to on tape, but because we want to make sure he's the guy we're running against because everybody knows what a fucking loser he is.
Seen this, but over the weekend, I think somebody in Congress started talking about, are you a Romney Republican or a Trump Republican?
Yeah, I don't care. Eat each other alive. No, does it matter? The other one guy has a fucking car elevator and binders full of women, and the other guy thinks he can grab them by the pussy and can't drive a car. What the fuck difference does it make? Economically, as far as tax breaks go, they're both on the same fucking page. They're both stupid. I could tell you what, dummy. I can vote against both of those ideas on policy.
Now, notice they didn't say a Ron DeSantis Republican, okay? It's a Romney Republican.
That's because there's no distinction between DeSantis and Trump. They're both doofy idiots with bad haircuts, running a culture war.
Coming from the GOP. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Are you a Romney Republican? Meaning, I think, a reasonable Republican, one that will compromise, one that will work to get things done.
Yeah, like an infrastructure bill, or getting us actually out of Afghanistan, or the CHIPS Act, or any of that stuff. Or the Democrats, quite frankly, that voted for the USMCA to make it go across the line because it was a modification of NAFTA, and that was it. Maybe, no, those people are evil. I see.
Or are you a crazy person? First of all, let's just go on this. That's a false choice.
Right. Both of these assholes are, we shouldn't even be talking about them.
Okay. Romney is that's the other side.
All right. And by the way, Romney's a Mormon, and so is Glenn. Glenn shopped around for a religion to raise his children in and chose Mormonism. Normally, he would side with somebody like Mitt Romney in terms of values and the like, and absolutely be repulsed if he actually believed what he says he believes. He would be repulsed by Trump's attitude towards women and minorities and gays and the like, and it's just his disgusting behavior. In general, that would be something like, well, we as Mormons don't do that. One day we'll have the right candidate. I trust in God's plan.
Why aren't you saying a DeSantis Republican?
Because there's no such thing, and they're the same stupid people because they're fighting over the same dry bone.
And I'm not a DeSantis, Trump, or Romney Republican. I'm a constitutional voter.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Trump, congratulations. You've done it. Glenn is having to tap dance around not being a part of any party anymore. That's how good it's going. Ugh. It's just so much. I can't even begin to. Okay, hold on. But Trump doesn't seem to mind. He's put out an ad, if I may. I'm running out of time. Trump decided to put an ad out called "We Will Win." This is him, I think, in that Miami restaurant that he stormed into, where they brought people who support him so that he could feel good about himself. No wonder he cozied up to Xi and Putin and all these people, because that's exactly what they do in this circumstance. They pretend they go to these, like Putin goes and shakes hands with wounded soldiers, and all of them, if you watch, are in his security detail. So you can see the same guy who was in like bandages, with half of his head blown off the day before is standing behind him in a suit 2 days later. Anyways, they run these things, and here we go. This is a shit.
Former President Donald Trump has been indicted. This makes him the first former U.S. president in history to be indicted on federal charges.
I had to beat off
Indictment that should be coming down is against President Biden for whatever he was doing as vice president.
I don't think Joe Biden thinks he can beat Donald Trump, so he's got to destroy him. This is election interference.
If you get in the way of the Democratic Party, they will target you, they will come after you, and they will try and destroy your life.
Donald Trump now moving forward with his campaign, not letting this indictment.
It's weird people praying over him in a fucking Waffle House.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Did that work? Oh, it froze on me. Why would you do that?
Yeah, look.
There you go.
Even brought a safecracker.
And slow him down.
Never before have the two standards of justice in our country been more starkly in his sock drawer revealed. But they will fail, and we will.
Look, this is terrible.
Win bigger and better than ever before.
Look at all the press that likes me. It's not me that's saying I'm great. Look at all these people filming me. You'd have to be great to have. Now, I know they filmed the Unabomber a lot, and they also filmed Ted Bundy, and there were a lot of cameras at Waco. But the point is, no press is bad press, except all the press, because it's fake news, and I don't like it.
When you arrest your leading political opponent, we no longer have a democracy. Free health care for illegal. Look, you want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom.
I think we got to do a better. I can do this better. Hold on. I can do this ad better. Hold on 1 second.
Former President Donald Trump has been indicted. This makes him the first former U.S. president in history to be indicted on federal charges.
The only indictment.
I had to beat off the Burmese executives. So the numbers should skyrocket downward. They don't like the gas. Here I am like an idiot. You could say it's a back door, but I call it a smart door. They said, oh, Michigan gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang. I don't read, obviously. Where's Dick? Hi, Dick. Do we like Dick? Yes. What? Dumps. They call them dumps, big, massive dumps.
When interest rates and taxes spiral upward in an uncontrolled way.
A ninth world country, not a third world country, a ninth world country.
I was a private business people. I was a private business people. I was a private business people. I was a private business people.
There you go. I think that's a little better. Yeah, I think that works. That's the new ad. That's impressive. It's, they do good work on it. And then finally, ladies and gentlemen, Ted Nugent. I don't know why Ted Nugent is broadcasting live from the back aisle of a hardware store in the UP, I guess, is what this is. But apparently, Ted Nugent, host of Ted Nugent's Spirit Campfire, Theodosius the Atrocious. That's him because he's gladly and happily not politically correct or correct in general. I would just avoid. He's just avoiding being correct about anything. And I think that's wise. Hold on, I got to turn.
Is a martial art. And
hold on. So he's holding up
truth, logic, and common sense is a martial art. And I am celebrating
the rejection of your white belt.
The mystical flight of the gold tip arrow, because the world is just a shitstorm of insanity, cruelty, evil.
Do you get out much? Did you watch the Stanley Cup? Have you seen a movie, eaten at a restaurant lately? You do realize that, okay.
Thanks to Uncle Sam. Oh, that hurt. Oh, that hurt when I admitted the irrefutable, evidence-drenched truth.
Citation needed, dum-dum.
That Uncle Sam is the enemy of America and mankind.
Again, what the fuck does that mean? And mankind? Uh-oh, we've got a new Jimmy Dore fan.
Now, Americans are still the most loving, giving, hardworking, positive, generous, conscientious, dedicated, loyal, funny, cocky.
So he has been watching my show.
People in the world. But right now in 20 cluster.
Jesus Christ, man. Just get a bow already. What the fuck kind of nerd, like, pocket compass is that shit?
23, Uncle Sam is so evil. Joe Biden is the devil incarnate.
Well, all right. Well, it gives him a lot of credit. I'd always heard that the devil incarnate would be all like, you know, young and kind of a smooth talker and stuff. I guess the stutter's there to throw us all off.
Where he has sicked his oath-violating, immoral. The Department of Justice is immoral.
They're immoral. They're following the law, but I don't like it.
Christopher Wray of the FBI is an immoral traitor.
I guess you take it up with the guy who hired him, I think.
Merrick Garland is the top cop in America? Yeah.
No, he heads the Department of Justice. He's not the top cop in America. The cops do the investigative part of it. The Department of Justice handles largely the prosecution aspect of it. It can, allow deeper investigations to go ahead, but they can't drum up evidence and make it up. And certainly,
I'm Caitlyn Jenner's boy toy. The guy's
that was a weird edit. And you are?
Garland is the top cop in America? Yeah, and I'm Caitlyn Jenner's boy toy.
Well, I guess news is made every day. I guess I did not expect on Juneteenth this year to find out that Caitlyn Jenner apparently is fucking Ted Nugent, or he's servicing her. That's weird.
The guy's a creep. The guy's an oath-violating criminal, gangster, treasonous prick.
Yeah, we get the words, but I don't know why you're saying that. Again, it kind of helps. I don't mind, epithets and pejoratives and, ad hominem attacks, but usually they got to be couched in something. You know what I mean? You can't, I'm just saying. It's like when people add too much shit to a grilled cheese and you're like, at some point, this is now a ham sandwich.
So having stated that, what?
You didn't state anything. You asserted something.
How quickly and effectively I can escape the evil, cruel, criminal, oath-violating, treasonous.
Dude, you can't get out of your fucking shed.
Prick. And his gang of pricks that infest the United States.
Well, apparently you have something against penises somehow. Is it because you've been hanging out with Caitlyn Jenner lately? Is there some sort of an issue happening here? It's okay. You'll learn to deal.
States government. Watch how quick I can escape that. With the mystical flight of my arrow, my gold tip arrow on a Matthews bow, using an old Bill Scott release. Oh man, Bill Scott, in the wind, he's still alive. And all that treachery, all that evil, it's now gone. Oh, baby.
I just like, what did that hit?
Moon River.
Yes, anyone can fire a practice arrow in their own shed. Great. It's I don't even think we have an answer to it. I think we all where does the line for surrender start? I think we're all very afraid right now, especially with his Michael Bay Transformers compound bow.
A double lung pump station disconnect on an unsuspecting herbivore that God has sent for the guitar player, the Whackmaster.
Well, I understand that. Maybe that's it's the other penises that are getting in the way.
The strap assassin, Reverend Theodosius Atrocious. The Motor City Madman.
That's it? That's it? So you fired an arrow in your shed to make what?
Pump station disconnect on an unsuspecting herbivore.
It means firing an arrow through the heart of a deer, by the way.
That God has sent for the guitar player, the Whackmaster. The strap assassin, Reverend Theodosius Atrocious. The motor.
You know what this is like? It's like we've like they froze us all, and we all woke up, in 10 years, and like, hey, we've cured aging, so we unthawed all you guys, and it didn't take us as long as we thought, and there were a couple of people who just refused the freeze, and one of them was Kid Rock, and boy, does he look like shit. And I'm just saying, wearing his own merch, party foul. It's just not good. This is a clip they posted. This is 2 minutes and 58 seconds. So how long is his fucking show? But RAV pulls 3-minute clips of his show, and that from his show. This is called the Spirit Campfire. This is his name, and that's his little logo for it because he's borrowing like Indian traditional concepts for himself. Watch how quickly and effectively I can escape evil, cruel, criminal, oath-violating, treasonous prick and his gang of pricks infesting the U.S. government. You fired an arrow without ever standing up from your seat. What the fuck are you talking about? What? Right after that, then what happens? The ATF is outside. Walk me through this. You're having a Unabomber Waco day. You're the new Ruby Ridge, except you can't get it together to actually make a functioning sawed-off shotgun. So you're just threatening people's lives with arrows or some shit. And so you fire an arrow to this. This is goofy as fuck. I don't even know what the living. How is that content? What in the ass? Oh, we don't have time for that. I wish we did. Oh, but let me see. Okay, this is fairly short, but we got to do this. Okay, so Mark Levin, who's the one who's flipping out the most, and then I got to go. Mark Levin, who's flipping out the most about everybody. He's the one who's blown his top about the whole, like, they're going after Trump, and he's going, it's a criminal conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. Okay. He's been popping his top about this. He had Comer on his show. Check this out real quick. This is Comer from Kentucky Comer. Apparently fresh from the broom handle up your ass competition. And here's, I guess this is Life, Liberty, and Levin, the Fox show. It's a clip from his actual Fox show instead of the weird, like, Fox Nation offshoot shit that they do, or the pieces he does on Hannity.
Welcome back, America. We're with Chairman James Comer of the...
Or as I like to call him, Mr. Nothing Burger himself, Mr. Producer.
The House Oversight Committee, which I think is doing a fantastic job.
They're doing a fine-tastic job. I agree.
Mr. Chairman, we have alleged 17 audio tapes that were covered up by the Department of Justice and FBI. They didn't want you to see that.
Alleged 17 tapes by the Justice Department and the FBI. They didn't want you to see the allegation that they exist.
You mentioned...
Except he did.
20 shell corporations, the majority of which were used to launder money from the Communist Chinese and others to 9 members of the Biden family. These S corporations that Biden and the First Lady set up several years ago, where the Daily Mail now reports over $5 million haven't been accounted for in those accounts.
Well, let's look at that. That sounds like a something. Hold on. Daily Mail. Biden, money unaccounted for. Yeah. Financial record had 5.2 million in unexplained income. Where is this? This is Daily Mail. Exclusive. Biden in the millions. Here it goes. Joe's missing millions. Let me shrink this down a little bit and blow it up so I can show you guys. The Daily Mail. Bringing it. Financial records reveal Biden had 5.2 million in unexplained income, as emails show he paid Hunter Biden's legal bills for $1 megabucks Chinese deal and was tapped as big guy to get 10% in another. Okay. Emails from Hunter's laptop reveal Joe Biden agreed to pay his son's legal fees. Joe was able to pay the bills after earning millions of dollars through his and his wife's companies after he left office. But an analysis by DailyMail.com, the president's financial record shows 5.2 million is unexplained. Oh. Okay. So let me, in case you're having a hard time working through this, the fabricated emails on Rudy Giuliani's hard drive say that $5 million came to the Bidens, but in their filings and in their taxes and in their actual financial statements, that $5 million doesn't exist. So obviously the Occam's razor answer would be that the emails that they're using are fraudulent and not indicative of actual money that was paid. But there you go. The missing millions in emails on Hunter's abandoned laptop suggest Joe would have 10% share in his blockbuster deal with the Chinese. That's where it came from. You can't. Well, where's the other $20 million? Where'd he get this other money if it came from China? The revelation ties the president even closer to Hunter's overseas. Okay. Agreed to pay son Hunter's legal fees for his deal with the Chinese government-controlled company. Email. Why would he have to do that if he had millions and millions of dollars? All right, that's the other thing. We'll work that out later. The revelation ties him to overseas business dealings. Joe was able to pay bills after earning millions of dollars through his and his wife's companies. Okay, But some of the wave of cash came from book deals and speaking engagements. But the president's financial filings reveal that he declared almost $7 million more in his income tax and returns than he did in his government transparency reports. An analysis that's because he files jointly with his wife. Some of the difference can be accounted for with salaries earned by the First Lady, right? And other sums not required on his reports, but still that leaves $5.2 million earned by Joe's company and not listed in his transparency reports. The missing millions, combined with emails on Hunter 10% share, raised troubling. Did Joe Biden receive money from a foreign venture? This is Hunter's bills, Katie. Hello, VP team. Spoke with Hunter today regarding his bills. My understanding, that's where he's going to pay for the stuff. We know that. Okay, Bill Morgan, 15,000. Hunter's assistant, Katie Joe, wrote an email, bookkeeper, blah, blah, blah. One of his latest items on a spreadsheet. Hunter's bill was 28,000 legal fees. Chinese government-controlled bank of Hunter's joint venture with the Chinese controlled Bank of China. Spreadsheet billed as Fager, Baker, Daniels. Restructuring costing $20,000 due ASAP. Hunter's assistant, Katie Dodge, wrote an email to bookkeeper Linda Shapiro and Biden aide Richard Ruffner saying Joe had agreed to pay his hundreds of thousands of dollars of bills. I spoke with Hunter today regarding his bills. It's my understanding that Hunt's dad will cover these bills in short term as Hunter transitions in his career. The assistant attached a spreadsheet with bills in the mail totaling $737,000. One of his last items was 28,000 legal fees. I see. So out of the so basically his son's in debt $737,000. Of that, 28,000 is this shit, and so Biden pays all of it so that he can hide this. Adorable. The spreadsheet listed the bill as Fager, Baker Daniels, restructuring costs, and due ASAP. BHR, Bohai Harvest, is a private equity firm. One of China. George Messers was a partner of Fager Baker, blah, blah, blah. Separate October invoice shows spent a total of $68,000 on the restructuring beginning in September. So Joe only paid half of it. So where's the 10%? And what? All right. Same year Joe took on these bills from Hunter, he promised that no one in my family will have an office in the White House, will sit in the meetings as if they are a cabinet member, will in fact have any business relationship with anyone that relates. Okay. Yet not only did Hunter get his 10% share of BHR, not only did Hunter hold on to his 10% share of BHR, confirmed by Jen Psaki last February, the emails indicate Joe knew about it and even agreed to pay Hunter's legal fees for him. He paid his bills because he was in debt. He was a former addict. As he transitioned, and he just paid off his debts. The bills include, yeah, there you go. He paid his back taxes. He just basically like, this is my debts. His assistant wrote up a thing. In that was a $28,000 payment for this restructuring, and then another $68,000 that was either paid later. New York Times reported earlier this month that Hunter had taken out a $1 million loan to pay his delinquent tax bill in an apparent effort to stave off alleged tax fraud prosecution. Ron Johnson, blah, 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 blah. Will corporate media start doing their job, asking him, when will the president start being honest, public, American, blah, blah, blah. Iowa Republican Grassley told evidence of the president's financial and business connections to Hunter continues to grow. It's imperative for the first family to show the American people the transparency they deserve. That's that guy. Yeah, we know he took a picture of himself, and there's nudity, and the lady in the nudity. We don't care. President signed under federal investigation for tax offenses, money laundering, illegal lobbying, and foreign clients. Financial data. When in office, Joe, relatively modest income, enjoyed a flood of millions of dollars soon after he left office. Much of it came from his memoir, book deal, and eye-watering speaking fees. 2017, 2019. Yeah, did any of it come from sources it shouldn't have? Look at that shit. Here they come from. Here's where they come from. Employment assets and income retirement accounts. There's the reports. There's their taxes. Look at that. Some of the remaining $7 million came from wages earned by the First Lady from a Northern Virginia community college teaching job. A salary she paid herself from Giacopa, which the couple were not required to report. The comparison of the income reported versus what he told the IRS shows a difference of almost of the income reported from his Celtic Capri company on OGE reports. No conclusive evidence has yet emerged that Joe profited from many of them, but the potential discrepancy in the financial holdings at $5 million, $187,000 came from Joe's OGE filing submitted in there. Yeah, shows around $8.6 million of income for him and Jill from 2017 to 2019. This includes $7 million, which he said came from Celtic Capri Corporation. His OGE form submitted said another $9 wasn't paid into the 2017, $11 million adjusted gross income, much of 4.6. That's a total of $16.5 million. Some 6.9 more than was listed on his OG forms. Yeah, because it's not related. This is $5 million more than the Celtic Capri OG. Blah, blah. According to Joe's form 2015, while he's vice president, he and Joe reported assets between $317,000 and $1 million by July. A couple assets between $2 million and $7 million. Figures show an increased asset at least 1.17. Are we talking about like the house costs now? Because his house went up like $2 million. He was able to sell that house for $2 million. It's now infamous email sent by them about the big guy, blah, blah, blah. Partner in the deal, Tony Bobolinsky, yada, yada. Several, Joe. Okay, so basically that's where we go. We're back to, we're back to emails from the hard drive don't line up with the taxes or the official statements. Here we go. Let me do this here. The math behind Joe's missing million. This is how they place it. Okay, let's break it down. The president's financial filings show that he declared almost $7 million more income on his tax return than he did on his government transparency reports, raising the question, where'd it come from? Okay, there you go. Well, because his income on his tax returns, he filed his taxes. So all of his income is in those taxes. All of it. But he didn't declare it on his government transparency reports. But with those was his taxes. All right. 2017, May 2019 filing, Jill and Joe Biden income of $8.6 million. Income attributable to Joe Biden's company, Celtic Capri Corp, $7.4 million. Income of $907, Celtic Capri $613. Total $9.6, including $8 from Celtic Capri. Joe Biden's federal tax returns $11 million. Celtic Capri $9. 2018 income of 4.5, Celtic Capri income $3 million, 2019 $985, total 16.5, including 13 for the tax return versus OG difference, $6 million unaccounted for difference from the Celtic Capri 5.9. Okay, all right. So Celtic Capri, let me guess, that's his loan out that he created for his book deal. Biden's tax return show he took advantage of a loophole. Tax income, Biden's income sources aren't such a big mystery. This is a political fact that the Celtic Capri went from A bit Connecticut changed the definition. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to find the actual. Let's see. Let's look at the company. OG Form 97. Here's the secret form. This is the OGE form. Celtic Cap form not applicable. Salary 112. Okay, so they own their property through that, more than likely. He gets a salary from that, or University of Pennsylvania, he gets a salary, honorariums, blah, blah, blah. Celtic Cap reform. It's an S corp filed in Wilmington, Delaware. He's the president of that from 2017 on. And let's see. Let's look at the. There's got to be a Celtic Cap corporate wiki. Here's the Forbes article on it. How the Bidens earned 16.7 after leaving the White House. The couples have skyrocketed to earn $22.5 million from 98 to 2019. Tidy sum. In the decade before Biden entered the West Wing, he and his wife Jill and an income for Biden brought in about $155,000 a year as U.S. senator. He had a teaching gig at Widener University on the side, which generated roughly $20,000 annually. Third, Jill had $60,000. She worked as an English professor. Added all up, a couple made about $230,000 in a typical year. And then, bing, right after he graduated, because he sold a book, right. When Biden became vice president, he got a pay raise, made about $225,000 a year. 2009, collecting real money from Social Security. There you go. Couple earned about $385,000 in Social Security benefits from 2009 to 2019, 10 years, right? Okay. Another source of income included a cottage in Wilmington, Delaware, which they rented for $17,000. Took in about $17,000 per year on the property. Not a lot cheaper digs for the Secret Service than Mar-a-Lago. Declared $11 million in total earnings, nearly twice as much as single years made in previous 18 years combined. $10 million flowed through an S corp, Celtic and Giacoppa. The Biden campaign explained in a press release last year the money in those entities from speaking engagements and book payments connected to Joe's memoir, Promise Me Dad, and Jill's memoir, Where the Light Enters. Publishers Weekly reported the couple's book deal with Flatiron Books was valued at $8 million. In February 2017, Joe Biden was also named the Benjamin Franklin Presidential Practice Professor at the University of Pennsylvania, post that earned him $372,000 a year. Which was more than he made as vice president of the United States. The next year, he stayed on a pen, earning $405,000. He and Jill also earned $3.7 from their books and speaking gigs. Depending on where he was speaking, Joe's payout varied dramatically. He earned $8,000 for a stop in Ann Arbor, Michigan, for instance, but he received $190,000 for a speech in Madison, New Jersey, paid for by Drew University. According to his financial disclosure form, the Biden's earnings, which also included payments from pensions and Social Security, totaled $4.6 million. And this is well within the numbers. Like, I gotta say.
We have millions and millions that have flowed into this family from foreign governments and...
Yeah, no. Like, Jared Kushner got $2 billion. Fuck right off.
And state-run corporations. We have never seen anything like this. You're still fighting for information from the Department of Justice and the FBI. They have all this information. They must have more. They must
have more, because this is shit.
Won't appoint a special counsel to investigate Joe Biden. What do you make of this, and what can you do next? I mean, you're not a criminal enforcement department.
Well, I think we've done as much as we could do.
That's it. Yep, he's calling it.
With the obstacles we've had to overcome. No one thought I would get bank records. No one thought we would get...
Sure we did. Why wouldn't we think you'd eventually get them?
He said the single biggest problem...
Oh, sorry, hold on. Sometimes when I hit the button, it...
Access to the Treasury Cabinet's suspicious activity reports, but we have. We would not take no for an answer. We kept fighting, and we prevailed. When we got access to the suspicious activity reports, the mainstream media said there was nothing there. Well, this is what we found, Mark. We found that wires were made to Joe Biden's family while he was vice president from Romania and China through these shell companies to 9 different Biden family members. So we found...
No, they weren't through shell companies. They were through individuals who paid them in their businesses. And fucking, by the way, Delaware is where most American corporations are. If you're from Delaware, holy shit, do you know that system?
Found a lot of things out when we had access to Treasury. Now we know about this Form 1023 that alleges bribery. What we know from our informants and from our sources in the FBI is that the FBI never investigated this. They never investigated this. Even though they will tell you, and you heard in the testimony.
Okay. Yes, because there's no there. It's part of an ongoing investigation, but the investigation is into who paid this informant 6 figures during the Trump administration to file this fucking ridiculous piece of paperwork.
And Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley grilled the deputy FBI director as to why they wouldn't release the Form 1023. They said, well, we don't want to endanger the life of our paid informant, who's one of our most trusted, highest paid, most credible FBI informants.
I don't think they gushed like that.
So if this is the case, and the FBI informant's that credible, and the FBI informant tells the FBI that the Vice President of the United States took a bribe from a foreign national in
Also, I think in that statement, if anybody has the clip, I'd love to see it. They keep referencing like he's one of the most valuable people they value, but they valued this guy. He's so valuable, and he's the most trustworthy. He's so trustworthy. He's very trustworthy. Definitely trustworthy. Fart Wapner's on. That every time they bring this shit up, like from what I saw of these actual hearings, they were just using boilerplate about how they don't talk about their confidential sources because all of them are valuable. And if you start talking about them or telling who they are, other ones won't come forward and other ones will fear for their lives.
Exchange for foreign policy and foreign aid, then why did the FBI not investigate it? And that's a pattern you've seen with the IRS whistleblower. They said the IRS would not investigate anything other than tax evasion, basic tax evasion from Hunter Biden. They didn't want to investigate the shell companies. They didn't want to investigate the money laundering.
Yeah, because they don't have any evidence to start with.
And then we know
they can't just investigate him because you don't like his dad.
The Department of Justice hasn't done anything. So there's a pattern here where the federal government.
Also, by the way, the laptop fucked up everything. Let's be completely honest. The laptop screwed the pooch. The fact that Rudy Giuliani has had this laptop and all the stuff on there and the manufactured bullshit mixed in with real stuff thrown together or whatever, that every court knows that this was the impetus for it. You know how they talk about how the dossier was not they want to make the dossier the reasoning behind the original Trump Mueller investigation because they thought, oh, that's fruit of the poison tree. If you can get that thrown out, then anything that came from it must get thrown out, even if it's real. The same thing is true with the Hunter Biden laptop story. There's no fucking way in a million years that anything from that laptop is ever going to see the inside of a court of law. Not a fucking thing. And the FBI wouldn't have to look very far to go, how do we get this document? Oh, because it came from a guy who, it was printed from that. We'll never be able to make a case with that. Fucking Rudy Giuliani had it for 2 fucking years. It'll get thrown out, fruit of the poison tree. And they go, well, what about this document? Well, we found that out because something that was written in there, and we went over, and it was basically like a note said, look in drawer number 3. And we looked in drawer number 3, and in there was that. Well, we can't use that either because any asshole could write a fake email that says, look at drawer number 3, and put the thing in drawer number 3, and there you go.
The deep state bureaucracies have turned a blind eye to Joe Biden. Our job in the House Oversight Committee is to follow the money. And we have more bank records coming in. We're going to start bringing in key figures in the Biden family influence peddling schemes for depositions. And I think we're on the right track, even though.
Your Honor, great. Yeah, awesome. Even though we got no evidence that they've done anything yet, it's only been fucking 3 years.
We're having to fight the FBI, fight the DOJ, fight the Democrats in Congress.
Fight our own lack of reading comprehension.
And fight the mainstream media.
Those last 2 points are very important. You're having to fight the Democrat Party, which wants to cover up all this corruption. You're having to fight the media, which has done nothing to independently investigate.
You're on Fox News, fuckhead. What do you mean fight the media?
Investigate these things other than some conservative outlets. You present the information. They don't take the information and run with it as only the media can. Instead, they attack you. Also.
Well, I think they're not attacking him for bringing this stuff forward. They're attacking him for promising the fucking sun and handing people a Starburst.
This is the same Department of Justice, and Durham made the point. that, like a laser, focuses on Donald Trump, even concocts information against Donald Trump.
Nobody concocted information against Donald Trump. He's on tape admitting he couldn't and didn't declassify the documents he had in his possession, and he engaged in a criminal conspiracy to hide those documents from his own lawyer and from the DOJ after he'd received a subpoena. Get fucked.
Changes evidence to try and go after Donald Trump. Works with the Democrat Party to go after Donald Trump, and then drops everything when it comes to Hillary Clinton, as they're dropping everything when it comes to the Bidens.
Well, it is an issue of the evidence, or should I say the lack thereof.
This oversight responsibility that you and Jim Jordan and others have, and you're not getting a hell of a lot from the Senate.
From your own brain or spinal column?
Other than a few senators like Johnson and Grassley. But the fact of the matter is, this oversight responsibility is also a legislative responsibility. These institutions have to be changed. These institutions have to lose resources. These institutions have to stop spying on Americans. These institutions have...
What the fuck are you talking about? This asshole is crawling up Biden's ass with a microscope every goddamn day and is eventually going to find his own car keys and drive out. But the FBI is the fucking problem?
To stop trying to destroy Republican candidates, Republican elections.
Or maybe every criminal conservative asshole doesn't just decide to run for office as soon as they get it, an indictment's around the corner.
And a former Republican president. This is just beyond belief. Are you folks thinking about these things?
Nah.
Absolutely. I think about it every day. I think.
Really? Because I would have thought you were completely ate up dealing with your constituents' needs and trying to help the state, because God knows Kentucky doesn't have any environmental, geopolitical, or economic issues.
About it more since I've started trying to deal with Christopher Wray and the FBI bureaucracy. Look, this is something the Republicans are going to have to stick together on, and you'll.
Yeah, they're not.
See an overwhelming majority of Republicans in the House do this. We're going to have Republicans in the Senate stand with us. We not only are going to have to reform the FBI, but we're going to also have to demand that there be new leadership in the FBI.
Yes, it all boils down to they hate the guy that Trump hired.
There's not a lot we can do with Merrick Garland right now, but we can cut their budgets, and we can use that Holman rule to try to get rid of.
Oh, defund the police is what I think you're trying to say, hashtag defund the police. That's what you mean? Just defund the police?
Deep state bureaucrats that...
Deep state.
...are consistently problems with respect to getting the transparent truth out there.
The transparent truth. Truth so thin you can see through it.
To public corruption and political wrongdoing among liberals and among Democrats. So... I'm all in. I agree with you 100%.
So, I'm sorry. Say that again. Right, one second. Run that by me again. I don't know if you guys noticed that as well, but hold on.
And we can use that Holman rule to try to get rid of deep state bureaucrats that are consistently problems with respect to getting the transparent truth out there as to public corruption and political wrongdoing among liberals and among Democrats.
I see. So that's the goal here. That they want to go after, quote, public corruption by liberals and Democrats. I mean, all government officials? Maybe people are seeing this as a partisan hack job because you say things like that where you want to give... It isn't that you don't want to go after Donald Trump, it's that you want to give him a pass and actually support him in doing it.
So I'm all in. I agree with you 100%. The first thing that I said when I spoke to the Republican Study Committee yesterday, gave them an update on the investigation, I said, we have to stick together to defund this FBI building. We cannot reward the FBI with a brand new state-of-the-art fine building that's bigger than the Pentagon. This agency needs to be reformed. We need to send a message.
What the fuck does the architecture have to do with it? What the fuck does having, like, a solid facility have to do with any goddamn thing? You think they're like patting them? Like, you think they're going after Trump to get a building, to get a new headquarters? I don't even grasp the level of ridiculousness in this, like, and the pettiness that you would risk everything to go after a former president with no evidence whatsoever. You just concocted a little plant evidence in Mar-a-Lago, and then we'll do this, or just so we could get a new building that I'll maybe serve in for 8 years. But if they catch me, I'm going to jail, and I'm part of the worst scandal ever, and I make the plumbers look like choir boys, and what the fuck?
And we're going to have to do it with the power of the purse. So hopefully,
and again, defund the police. This is it. This is where the Republicans find themselves in all of this. That's it. It's defund the police writ large. And on that note, tomorrow I have the jam, so I won't be on the show. We'll have a show Wednesday, and I'm going to. We posted the Dee Snider interview, as choppy as it was, because I wasn't expecting him fully, and it was very exciting to have him on. And I'll have Phil's interview as well, separated into another clip as part of an ongoing podcast series on YouTube starting tomorrow. So I can do some of the like housekeeping work that I have to do for the show tomorrow as well. Anyways, I'm going to work on that, and I will see you guys on Wednesday. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Much love. And another thing.